Good evening, everybody. I stand here in all humility and empathy with brave guys sitting over here in my audience. Humility because so many extremely talented and extremely intelligent and experts of their field have spoken today before I did. And believe me, I'm no expert, I'm just a simple architect. Empathy because you've sat through this huge amount of data and huge amount of knowledge that has come your way throughout the day, throughout the second half, and I know that it gets especially more difficult after lunch. And I am the last one in the entire chain, and therefore maybe some of you must be wondering as to what new this guy has to share. So take a breath there and relax. I am going to share with you a project which is delicious, a project which is very, 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 very close to my heart, a project which is coming up as we speak, and a project which will have so many flavors and so many dimensions and so many fragrances that will hopefully in times to come be a darling of everybody. So think of my sharing that project with you as the dessert after this long meal. So without any much further ado, I am Anand Sharma, and I run an architectural firm called Design Forum International. And we are based out of New Delhi. We do all kinds of stuff, in fact, whatever people give us. So we do courts, we do railway stations, we do malls, we do shopping malls, we do master plans. And fortunately, for the last 3 to 4 years, we have been working on infrastructure increasingly. And one project that I wanted to share with you all today is a project very close, which is the new integrated terminal building that we're doing at Guwahati Airport. And just to give you a sense of the scale, there are 14 airports which are being designed and under construction by Airports Authority of India, who are our clients. And there are going to be 100 more. So imagine the amount of work that there is and there is going to be. And what will probably surprise you in a bit is that all these airports are now required to be done, designed, and delivered in BIM. And we are at the forefront of delivering this project in BIM. Guwahati, at the moment, is the only airport in the country being done by Airports Authority of India, where good for construction drawings are being delivered using Revit as a platform, or BIM as a platform, and it's happening really, really well. Equally thanks to my co-consultants, AECOM, and contractors, Shapurji. So I would like, as an architect, and I'm sure there are some architects in the audience, if I may see some hands, of course, Naresh. And before we get into the design, and like I said, I'm no BIM expert, so I'll share what we have done. And before sharing what we have done, it is interesting to get into the skin of an architect. So imagine you were in my place while this design was being visualized and being created. So I'll take you through the design conceptualization. I'll try and focus some time on the design that we have created, some snapshots of it. I'll briefly go through the drawings that we are delivering, which are helping construction happen on the site. And eventually, I'll show a walkthrough that we've derived out of using Navisworks for the entire coordinated, integrated model for structure, architecture, MEP, services, facade, roof, flooring, interiors, landscape, everything. So architects have a funny way of approaching buildings. Now, before putting pencil to paper, had a very funny thought in mind. Life, for all of us, if we look back at our 50 years, 20 years, 30 years, there are very, very few moments that we remember very, very poignantly. It could be the day you got your degree. It could be the day your child took his first step. It could be the day you first saw your future wife or husband. So life, for me, is nothing but a collection of moments. So I look at my design, and especially in this airport, as a building which is not a collection of spaces, a building which is not a travel from one place to the other. For my quest from coming out of the airport aircraft and getting my baggage and getting out to sit in my car. But we wanted to think of this airport project as a collection of moments, creating spaces which evoke memories, creating spaces which create memories, which stay in the mind of the traveler for the time even after he's left of the airport. Some of the moments, like India conquering Tiger Hill, or this happy lady taking the Olympic silver medal back then, and she's made us proud again, taking the world championship a few days ago. So, an airport is essentially about learning, it is about learning to fly, and it is about huge amount of experiential. It has to be scale. Now, a building, an airport building to be specific, is nothing if it is not monumental. So, it had to be scale. It has to be welcoming, right? An airport has to be welcoming. It cannot be horrending, it cannot be taxing, it cannot be torturous, but it has to be welcoming. So we thought of some design inspirations, quite a few from the history, which actually symbolize the kind of yearning that have. So we thought of Icarus. Now, he is one mythical figure, a lot of people might have heard about him. He is the person who took the first, his was the human urge to fly, right? So this guy fitted wings of a large bird and jumped from a cliff. I don't know what happened to him, but at least he made an attempt to fly. So Icarus is become one of the biggest inspirations for this airport design. Origami. Now, all of us have practiced origami in our childhood. We continue to do that. So origami became an integral thread of design throughout the design process that we did and continues to inspire us in everything that we do in this airport. So our design for this particular airport was essentially about creating moments, essentially creating about spaces which generate wow. It is a 52-acre site, and in architectural aeronautical parlance, it is divided between airside and city side. So the city side has about 52 acres of land, of 40 to 45,000 square meters of footprint of the building, airport building, and landscape greens, parking, solar panels, so on and so forth. It's a 120,000 square meters airport building. That's a close-up, and you can see right in the center over there that imprint of the origami-inspired sheet roof, aluminum sheet roof that we are putting over there. That's a section across the building, so it's a 4-level airport. The ground is arrival, of course. The level above is a mix of baggage handling as well as arrival corridor coming out of the plane and getting to collect your baggage. Departure is level up, and there is a food court level which is slunk over the departure, opening into double-height spaces on either side. There is an extremely complex steel structure on top of it, over which there is an aluminum sheeting roof, inspired from origami, sitting as the final roof of the airplane. It is a front inspired by tea gardens of Assam, because it is in Assam, it is in Guwahati. There is Icarus, which is right in the front. And then there are various aspects and various components so essential to an airport, which are interspersed through various levels and various spaces. That's the other section. On the other side, the sectional perspective. And what you will see here is on the extreme left and extreme right, you see there is a green pocket, which is what we are calling the indoor forest. And probably for the first time in Indian airports, actually large internal forest, indoor forest, abutting a large, even larger external forest on the other side of the glazing. Now, how is that? So that essentially is a large 2,500 square meters of space on both the domestic side and the international side, which is essentially an indoor forest, which is experienced by people arriving into the airport, as well as people departing from the airport. People arriving actually are able to walk around it, actually have to pass through it. And the people on the F&B level, which is from the departure, are actually do a look and feel, walking around a blue-colored catwalk that you would see on the screen in front of you. You can actually stand there and touch the trees coming all the way from 15 meters below. And the roof. So origami It's just not an art, it's also an expression. We have all flown paper planes in our childhood. We've made boats out of paper, and we continue to do that. So this is how the form evolved, and this is where I want to bring why BIM came into play. So like all architects, you start, an airport is basically a box. So we started with a simple box and trying to create some supports on the periphery. Now, we were not happy with that. So we said we need to add some jazz to it. So we added two pyramids on the extreme sides, on the left and the right, which is what the indoor forest is made up of. And then we found that it's still not sexy enough, right? So we had to do a little more jazz to it. So we created edges, we created valleys, which we created origami-inspired angles. And there, now doing all that, there was one comfort playing at the back of our minds, that we are creating an extremely complicated structure, but there is a software that we have which has our back, because we were mandated to do this in BIM, and luckily so, we did this in BIM. So that's the roof for you. There are skylights to allow for natural light. That's the check-in hall. You can see the natural light filtering in. You can see the shape of the roof. The Icarus. Now, what is the Icarus? Icarus is that ancient inspiration, but in our case, it is also the canopy at the departure level, serving car drop-offs at the concourse. Imagine the size of this. It is almost 200 meters long, supported at only 4 locations. It is 90 meters on every arm, as long as 14 Volvo buses, 6 Volvo buses, I'm sorry. And it is humongous. So it rises 27 meters, only supported at 2 locations, at the bottom and at 10 meters, massive steel structure. Our structural engineers and contractors are having a hard time doing it, but so be it. Now this is what it is going to look like when it is completed. So the Icarus becomes the backdrop, the inspiration, the drop-off canopy, all rolled into one. Now, indoor forest. Now, indoor forest is where the fun is. It is essentially a pyramid, and if you see that blue line, that zigzagging pathway, is what one needs to take as one comes out from the aircraft, and on the way to collecting his or her baggage, you can't walk straight. You have to walk in a zigzag fashion. We want our people to experience it, not just rush through this experience. And there is an outdoor forest, which is right next to that gray line that you see, glazing. So there is an outdoor forest merging visually with the indoor forest, creating a huge immersive green experience. That's how it looks like from the outside. And that's how it is going to be experiential from the inside. It's a 27-meter high space, awe-inspiring, huge, takes your breath away. And this is what it is going to be treated like eventually. There is indoor plantation, there is art, there is jazz, and there is light. Check-in counters, again inspired by origami and being fabricated as we speak. Now, we created a craft village. A craft village is essentially so very different from the way we approach art in our country. We essentially are quite happy with paying lip service to art by putting posters on the wall, seeing wow, and moving on. We wanted to create experiences which are immersive. So we have actually fit in a crafts village at the departure level as well as the arrival level, in which people actually have artisans sitting there, practicing their craft. You as a traveler, if you have time to spare, can actually go spin a wheel or make a paper toy or a wooden toy. So you actually feel what that artisan is going through as he's doing it. And this is what it is going to be like. And eventually, it's an aluminum, cast aluminum with Sanskrit scriptures on it. It's an extremely, extremely complicated steel structure, and there are multiple trusses converging all at once. I wanted to take you through complication of the steel and how we are dealing with it. So these are trusses 2.5 meters deep, going at unimaginable angles. All trusses, all 56 of them are different from each other. And they are at multiple angles. Because there is so much complication, this is where we relied on BIM and Revit to be specific, to take help and to actually model it. And eventually also be able to do the right surface treatment to it using the same platform. So we have actually been able to do false ceiling treatments which hug the geometry, which add and accentuate to the geometry other than taking away from it. You can see there are 5 different trusses converging at a single point, and the steel is mammoth. It's a big nightmare to detail it. And then we are treating it with very beautiful materials so that steel efficacy is there, efficiency is there, but the aesthetics is not compromised. And we are then further accentuating it, architects being architects, it all eventually has to look beautiful too. There's some views before I get on to doing GFC drawings, discussing GFC drawings. That's the arrival hall. That's arrival hall as you're coming down from the plane. That's the aerial view of the terminal building when it will be ready. There are tea gardens on the front. There are gardens inside. There are forests outside. It's going to be experiential. That's a view from the front. And that's as you are approaching the terminal. And that's obviously the front. Arrival corridor. Thank you. Thank you. So some more views. Hopefully you will see it once it is ready. But let me talk about what we did and what is the platform that we used. Now, Airport Authority in all its wisdom has mandated that BIM be used. And we relied on a platform which we had been familiar with. Most architects in India equate CAD with AutoCAD. And so it is with BIM and Revit. So it was the chosen platform for us, and we thankfully migrated onto BIM as a method of furthering and being able to actually actualize the design, visualize the design, and actually do detail it out using a platform which had the power, which had the versatility, and which had the speed to fit in with the vision that we had as architects. So I think it became a hand-in-glove exercise after a while. We thought of something of a certain amount of complication. We found that it was doable. We went a little more complicated. And then we found it was some architecture drawings derived and executed and delivered from BIM. That's a plan at the arrival level. Those are independent segments of it. And it is architecturally, structurally, MEP, IT, airport systems, facade, you name it. Flooring, the works. Everything integrated on a single model, and GFC is being generated out of it and delivered. And in addition to all that, there is something extremely, extremely complicated to an airport, which is the baggage handling system. This is the first time that we have actually modeled out a baggage handling system into a BIM model and coupled it with architectural, structural, so on and so forth models, so that all of it fits once. And we'll see a walkthrough about that later. I'll quickly run through drawings because I want you to actually enjoy the walkthrough, which is 3.5 to 4 minutes long. Elevations, this is regular stuff. More elevations. And these are not planes, right? So there were never ever any true elevations. Had it not been for BIM, we have actually not been able to expand all the surfaces and detail those out individually. So sections, all details, structure, ramps, staircases. This is the mundane stuff, not much to it, but I just wanted to give you a flavor. Structural model. Now this is where the real impact of BIM integration into architecture came, right from the piles. Right? So there are piles which have been modeled, they've been integrated, evaluated, designed and integrated. Steel main roof. Now this is where the piece, the icing on the cake is, again in BIM. Icarus, so that humongous 180 meters long structure, modeled, designed, and now being delivered using BIM. The models of other structural elements, pretty simple, I would say, but this is where the real complication is, right? MEP also being delivered and derived. So this is a snapshot of the baggage handling system integrated with other systems. Plant rooms, regular stuff. More plant rooms, high side, low side, integration of services, detailing of services, quantities. Now, our structure is essentially about a lot of tunnels. An airport is extremely services sensitive building. So there are tunnels going under the airport which are carrying services. So imagine a 4.5 by 4.5 meter tunnel with 20 different disciplines passing through it, right from HVAC to the data cable to the LAN cable to IoT, and everything to be coordinated and delivered possible. This is simple, toilets, pump rooms, not much to it. I think we are done. Maybe we can go to the walkthrough, please. That's the baggage handling area. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anand.